the first business and markets day of the new month of April and effectively the first of week in the new quarter, second quarter of the year. Hello, everyone, and welcome. The big news this morning has to do with OPEC Plus and its allies over the weekend, making a surprising 1.6 million barrels output cut, which will roll until the end of the year. Oil prices surging nearly 8% this morning as to start the new business and markets week. But very quickly runs you through the market over the weekend, starting from Friday, where the Nigerian market finished 0.82%. Look for a few gains after we saw profits taking around the middle of the week. The PRVM fell by 0.38%. Egyptian market started Sunday, the start of the week, 2nd of April, very strongly, nearly 1.7% on the EGX 30, that's 16,694. The NSE finished Friday 91 basis points and the GSE down by 0.79% as we saw a bit of a risk-off sentiment on Friday. That is happening again slightly this morning as you saw the start of the new week with oil prices surging, U.S. Treasury yields tanking, and of course stock prices also taking a dive. Let's get on to bigger economic headline stories as well as corporate news. News out of Kenya that the initial call for today's protest in Kenya has been called off by the main opposition challenger, Raila Odinga, after what sounds like a conciliatory statement over the weekend by the incumbent President William Ruto, calling for a discussion, and the protest is now being called off, at least suspended, at least for now. Mondays and Thursdays was being called out by Raila Odinga, who contested in the last elections, saying that the victory was stolen from him. He's claiming he won the election by around 52% or thereabout, but that is still being contested. Inflation is likely to stay above 5% target by the Bank of Uganda until next year. That's according to Fitch Ratings, while President Ruto is saving Airtel Kenya, and Amazon from that forced equity stake. The president also dropped digital tax against multinationals, and that's some good news, trying to woo the multinationals into Kenya, while the Seychelles Islands and the IMF team are having talks and have reached an agreement on $100 million worth of deals through the extended facility and the EFF as well. Ethiopia is also having a similar conversation with the International Monetary Fund. All of this ahead of the April 10 to 16th World Bank IMF spring meetings in Washington, D.C. Just a couple of days from now, this conversation will be done by the Minister of Finance and their central banks at the particular spring meetings in Washington, D.C. Let's move on quickly, checking through the West African markets with Nigeria's PMI data expected this week. It's going to be a very busy week for as far as PMI data, inflation numbers are concerned for a number of African countries, including interest rate decisions by a few countries such as Lesotho down the rest of the week in Southern Africa. OPEC Plus makes that surprising 1.6 million output cut. The UBA, Nigeria's banking giant with footprints across a number of African countries, including UAE, in the US, and in the United Kingdom, has took a hit from its operations in Ghana on the back of the local debt restructuring that the government announced earlier in the year. Broadly speaking, the company came in with about a profit up about 31% as a group for the full year 2022, and we're paying 90 kobo per share as the final dividend for last year. Debt restructuring is likely to weigh very heavily on Ghana banks in this year, and that's according to Fitch Solutions, while Citibank has launched Sub-Saharan Africa's first city builder platform with Togo's Ministry of Investment Promotion. Some good news. Let's touch on with Southern Africa, where Eskom still in the news want to may buy electricity from a car power ship via Mozambique. This is all part of Eskom scrambling to ramp up South Africa's energy problems and get up and running as the country see the impact of electricity shortages and rolling shutdown by a scam. South Africa says it's determined to exit dirty money list. That's the FAT of the Financial Action Task Force, the grey list, as it were. And that's according to President Ruto, speaking a few days after the country's finance minister says they're looking to do everything possible and take urgent action to get South Africa struck off the list, just as Morocco was struck off when the announcement came a few weeks in April. And Africa's rate hikes is beating forecasts as inflation worries linger. Egypt, Kenya, South Africa all raised interest rates last week, and we're expecting a similar action to continue, with the exception of Zimbabwe. That drops interest rate to 140%. It's still one of the highest, by the way, globally speaking, but it's the second African country to lower interest rates, while others are raising rates, including Nigeria. So let's get into the Northern African markets with Egypt. Central Bank on Thursday, before it went for the weekend, raised interest rate by 2%, the highest since 2017, while the 2023-2024 draft budget has been approved by the parliament, and the growth target for Egypt, North Africa's biggest economy, is now set at 4.1%. And Tunis Reinsurance reporting for full year 2022, 19% profits climbed. That's part of earnings coming through from last year, while economists in Tunisia sees the dismissal at Sudanese banks and a warning of stagflation. And that is something to watch out for in Sudan as the country is trying to get its bearings up and running. But this economist in the country says it's going to be a little bit tough for Sudanese banks, and that is a piece of news which is dropped in the mix this morning for you. Get yourself up and running. Welcome to April, everyone, here on Frontier Opening Bell. I am Bosun Amofe. I'll see you next time. Have a great day. You can watch this show again online, and you can visit our website as well as our social media platforms. Bye for now.